you, as a forensics investigator, need to realize that your adversary wants to hide from you. They will do two things. They will delete whole partitions, and they will delete files. It is your job. They will also corrupt these files. It is your job to get them back. So let's figure out how to do that. We're going to talk about deleted files, deleted partitions. We're really going to focus in on the recycle bin, and we're really going to focus in on the volume shadow copy. Those two places are the places that we care about. You must know the different kinds of recycle bins and the data on how each deleted item is restored within the operating system. You realize that outside the operating system, what we could do is we could say, hey, I'm going to file carve this whole image, and those deleted files and folders, if they haven't been overwritten, you can access them right there in your file carving. But within the operating system, we need to dig down in and think about things, because we may have a live system in front of us that will actually give us information without having to do the file carving activity. Okay, so now let's talk about the process of deleting in Windows. So a user deletes a file. The OS marks the file name in the master file table, which is hexadecimal representation of all the files, with special characters, and it tells the processor that this file has been deleted. It is marked as deleted. The space is then free, but the file is still there. The operating system is going to replace the first letter of the file with the hex code E5H that's within that MFT. That's not outside. That's not talking about the actual file that we can view. This is deep inside of the machine itself. The corresponding cluster of that volume in FAT is marked as unused also, but it's just marked as unused. It's not inside of this master file table. Remember, FAT's very different from MFT. Now, the information is going to stay there until it's overwritten. Let's talk about that recycle bin. So remember, when it's deleted, it goes in the bin. On older machines, the first time a user puts a file in the recycle bin, that subfolder is created \recycler. The subfolder is named with the user's SID, so it's going to have a really, really long, globally unique, security identifier attached to that. You can go in and view that if you look for the hidden files. And it contains an info file with it. So that recycle bin for that user has a database file called the info file. So it's tied to a user. You can't say, I didn't delete that, unless somebody else can use your account to log in, go find that file, and choose delete. It attaches that pattern of activity to you. Remember, when a file is deleted, 3 steps occur. Take a look here. The deletion of the files folder entry in the folder which resides. So it's deleted from that folder. The creation of a new folder entry for the file in the recycle bin. And then step 3, the additional information about the file in the hidden system file named info on older ones and info2 on newer versions of the operating system. It's populated. So that's your database file. Info2 or info, depending. Info is old, info2 is new. We'll find out the difference in a second. Okay, so when was it deleted? Windows itself does not store the deletion date and time of the file in its folder entry, but Windows records the date and time of the deletion in the info file. So you can look inside the info file for that user, and you can reveal when it was deleted. So what we have is, for the file itself, modified, accessed, created. That's on the file properties itself. When the file is deleted, we have a deleted piece of information in the .info file. The other information in the recycle bin database is the file's location prior to be sent to the recycle bin. This is not as rich, but it may help us because maybe only that user knew that directory. But I think that's a pretty big stretch for us to use in a court. Now there's an index number in the bin. It's the order in the recycle bin. The first thing that is deleted is assigned the first file name. So it's set up as a 0. So your first file that you delete, that index number is 0 for that file. So you know the order in which they were deleted. So somebody goes in and wholesale deletes a bunch of files today to destroy evidence, and then they do it 3 days from now, destroy a bunch of evidence, it'll be in order. And you'll also know the date that it was deleted because that's also in the database. It's going to change its name, and you need to know specifically how it changes its name and what the pattern is for that. So every file that's sent to the recycle bin is renamed in this format here. Starts off with a D, then it's the original drive letter, then it's the index number, and the original extension. All of that is in there. So db1.txt sitting in my documents, sent to the recycle bin, its new name is going to be D, they're all named D, C because it came from the C drive, 0 because it was the first file that I deleted, and still the .txt extension on the end. Let's talk about that recycle bin info file. An info file is often effective in confirming or refuting computer users' explanation regarding the presence or history of computer files recovered from their drives. Please explain how this actually happened. And usually what happens is the end user doesn't remember any of that and they're making stuff up. And then your evidence says the opposite of what they're saying, or they're very confused on it, and you have something very clearly here forensically that shows this pattern of activity. Remember, it contains all the metadata relating to a particular file, such as the date of deletion and the original path. That's one big key element in here. It tells the story of the file's history from cradle to grave. The files deleted by the OS do not leave records in the info file. A user has to do this. So if the system's going in and cleaning up, it doesn't populate this. End user populates this by their actions. That's elegant for any of the activities that are on the machine to really point to that person's pattern of activity. This says they knowingly deleted. And that's the key element here as a forensics investigator. And they go, well, I didn't do that. They could say, hey, that was downloaded without my notice and the file's location was deleted. You know, I didn't do any of that. No. This bears you out. This info file bears you out. It says if a user deletes a particular file in the default download or temporary internet file folder, it attaches where it came from. That my documents, favorite things, my pictures, it attaches all that information. So when you downloaded and said it wasn't there, you knew it was there because you went in and deleted it. Okay, when we empty the bin, what happens? And this becomes important when it gets corrupt. When the user empties the recycle bin, Windows deletes the file itself. That's that text file. That's gone now. And the recycle bin, and also goes into the info file and removes it from there. We'll be able to get it back soon, don't worry. In Windows Vista and 7, the contents of the recycle bin has changed. The name of the folder is changed. It's $recycle.bin. And you could open a DOS command and prompt and go to the C drive and type cd $recycle.bin, because remember the $sign says this is a hidden share. It's actually a hidden folder at that point. The info2 file that is present on Windows 2000 through 2003 has been removed. But in Windows, 2 files are created when a file is deleted into the recycle bin. Remember, it has to be right-click and deleted. At the command line, if you delete it, it won't show. Both files have the same random-looking name, but we want to pay attention to the difference between them. One is the $R and one is the $I. The $R is the beginning of the name that actually the date of the deleted file. So it tells you the date of the deleted file. The $I at the beginning of the name contains the path where it was originally located. That's Vista, and we need to dig into a couple of other things before we get finished so that you can recover those deleted items.